first of all, everybody, it's good to get things started. We're jumping into this phase one, which is we're doing virtually here. It's a non-mandatory camp, voluntary, in other words, and the guys can pick and choose when they show up or not show up, in other words. So it's we're not really going to get into who's here and who's not here and all that bit. That's not how this one works. We're sure grateful for some of the new additions that we've had to the roster with Kristen Fulton, Elijah Mitchell, Jalen Moore, Gardner Minshew, Jerry Tillery. I mean, these are some of the newer guys, and then we've re-signed a bunch of guys. So that's been a plus. We also lost a few guys, in which I know Brett covered that with you with a couple questions about Tooney and so on, and Justin Reid and Hopkins and all of that bit. So, but those are Jalen, Justin Watson, and Wanson Ward. So those are all good football players. In this day and age, it's tough to keep everybody in a roster hole like that, but we sure feel like we've filled in the blanks with some good football players, and that's same with the draft coming up this week. We look forward to getting into that. We've got 8 picks there, 2 second-round picks, a first-day pick, and so on as we go through there. So it should be, it should be a good positive outcome once Brett gets done with that. I know his guys have worked their tail off getting ready for the draft, and along with the coaches, which they've included. But again, the coaches were a small part of the whole. But Brett, my hat goes off to Brett and his staff for the job that they've done and all the prep time that they've put in and travel time. So other than that, I don't have much to add, but I'll open it up to questions here. Fire away.
Let's go ahead and kick it off with Pete. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well. I was wondering about Jalen Moore. Obviously not a ton of experience starting, but you guys seem to have confidence in him. I guess what told you and the team that he could be capable of doing this as a starting left tackle?
Yeah, so I felt Jalen, well, first of all, he's backing up a pretty good player in San Francisco, arguably the best ever played a game. So I mean, and then when he got his opportunity, he took full advantage of it. We also remember him because he played next to Caliendo for 3 years at Western Michigan. There, I think we lead the league in players from Western Michigan, but now that we've added him, but listen, he was a good football player there. When he had opportunities in San Francisco, he was a good player there. We thought that he would be a nice addition to our offensive line as we continue to work that. So.
We'll go next to Adam Teicher.
Hey, Andy, how you doing?
Good. I thought you retired. You're back.
Calm down. You're getting rid of me. It's just going to take another couple months.
All right, doggone, you took those cheeseburgers that you were running.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Hey, wanted to ask you about Rashid Rice and Jared Wiley as well. How are those guys doing in their rehabs, and what will their status be when you guys get together on the field in the spring, but also when camp starts? And Sid, I'll have a second question as well.
Yeah, I can't necessarily give you the. They're doing well. That's taking place right now, but I can't tell you when they'll be back exactly here. But both have been busting their tail. They're running, which is good, and we'll just see how it goes going forward here. We don't have them here on the field right now with us, so we've got to see the football part of it as we go.
Okay. And when we last saw Kingsley Suamataia, he was playing a guard, obviously, up in Denver in that last game. Is that where he'll play when you guys get started again in a few weeks? Will he be a guard, number one? And number two, what led you guys to make that move with him? What did you see in him that led you to believe he'd be a productive player at that spot?
Yeah, when we brought him in, we knew he had that flexibility. We just felt that way athletically, and he's a very good athlete. He can run and he can basketball, do all the things that he needs to do. I thought he felt more comfortable in there as a young guy. Sometimes you see guys that start in there and then they work their way back outside. But so we stuck him in there, and he did a nice job against Denver. That was one of the bright spots in a game that didn't have many. So that was I thought he did a good job, and that's where we'll put him. He'll start in there with Mike Caliendo, so they'll compete for that spot.
Let's go next to Vahe. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Andy.
All right,
A couple of things, if I could, Sid. One is just, Andy, you're in phase one, and I'm just curious, for you personally, what's the difference in your own mentality coming out of the way this Super Bowl went versus the last couple? I mean, you're so process oriented typically. I mean, does anything change in your mind as you're preparing for the next go round based on just what it's been like this time around?
Yeah, so I'm excited to get going again, and it's been fun to go back in and dig in on the season and either come up with new things and or correct the things that we still like and are bringing back. I think it's a great time for the players. It's slowed down to where they get to see all the videos, the cut-ups, the work that the coaches have put in to do these evaluations and to teach. And so, and to learn from the player's standpoint. It's also good communication, so they can share ideas, players and coaches. They can ask questions, feel free about that. And there's no rush to do so. And at the same time, they get their lifting in and running in that they need to build that base to get them through the season.
Is that different somehow than it would be a year ago?
No, I tell you, it's similar. Yeah, similar. Yeah.
And sorry, the one other thing, I don't mean to squeeze a third in, but I do. You've had a nice relationships with your former Missouri players over the years, and I'm sure you're aware of Andy Locke recently dying, and I just wonder about what you recall from his playing days and any thoughts you have had about him over the years.
Yeah, well, it's a sad deal, but what a great guy, and he's left a nice legacy for us all here too, that we can cherish if we decide to go out to dinner. The true flavor of offensive lineman. He has these beautiful restaurants in town here that are great. But what a great guy, great human being. I had a chance to go out to a tribute to him in Lee Summit there with a bunch of the ex-players and from Missouri, and Jay Greenwood being his roommate for all those years, and best friends with him. Went to the culinary school there, hotel management school at the University of Missouri, which is a tough school to get into. Both of them had graduated from there and have had real productive and positive jobs or put themselves in great financial positions. So, but my heart goes out to the family for sure. And Drew, who we all know as a player in the National Football League, I know he had a great relationship with his dad too. So that's, my heart goes out to him.
Thanks a lot, Andy.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go next to Matt Derrick.
Hey, Coach, and two questions if you don't mind, Sid. But one, 5 years ago, if we told you that you'd still be doing meetings virtually and doing it in the first phase of OTAs, would you have believed it? Could you have believed that a ball coach like yourself would have embraced this as much to kind of help your team a little bit?
Listen, man, I think it's one of the positives that came out of that, probably for a lot of professions. Here we're doing this right now virtually, and that didn't happen before either. So, but you can use it as a teaching tool, and that's something that the players have perfected, we perfected, and feel comfortable doing. But no, I wouldn't have seen that before the whole COVID year showed up.
And you mentioned Gardner Minshew coming in. this is the first time Patrick's, really going to have maybe a principal backup behind him that's younger than he is. Is there a benefit to that, especially having somebody like Gardner that maybe is a little bit like him as far as that gunslinger mentality in that quarterback room to help him kind of dissect things, since Gardner's had a lot of experience too?
Yeah, he sure has. He's a good football player. I think it'll be a good relationship between the two of them. They both know of each other and respect each other, and I think they look forward to working together. They can speak more on that when you have a chance to talk to them. But Gardner's a humble kid with a great personality, loves to play the game, and all of those are the same things that Pat has too. So it should be a good working relationship there.
We'll go next to Sam McDowell.
Hey, Andy. Obviously, Patrick is doing this virtually. I just wonder, ahead of time, what kind of guidance do you provide him? I mean, is he drawing up how to those guys spend their time down there? Is there a script of sorts that you provide?
Yeah, you know what, Sam? We don't do that. First of all, it's not legal to do that by rules, by the NFL rules. So, and really, to be honest with you, Pat doesn't need that, especially right now with the experience he has and the experience that the receivers have. So that have joined him last year when we had some new faces or young guys in there. It was a little, it was a little different. He had to really prep for that. But this year, he can kind of go out and work on the things that he knows the guys need worked on and the routes and that. So I think it's even a better situation this year than it was last.
We'll go next to Nate Taylor.
Hey, Andy, earlier you mentioned Fulton being one of the guys you all acquired in free agency. How much of that signing do you think was not only just beneficial for the secondary, but what do you feel like it can do for someone like Trent McDuffie, who has established himself as one of the best cornerbacks in the league, whether you want to keep him outside or move him back towards the slot?
Yeah, it should give you a little bit of flexibility. We've got some good corners on the roster, but I think his addition it gives you more flexibility. I think it is the best thing. I mean, you kind of tagged that right there, that Trent is such a good inside player that and Spags likes using him in there and has a nice package in there with him when he's used him in there. So, but I think you hit it right on the head. I think it just gives you more flexibility to do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we've got two more, so we'll go to Todd Lebo next.
Hey, Coach, a couple quick questions here, kind of on that virtual side of it. What have you learned about maybe yourself and your coaching staff doing this stuff virtually and engagement from the players and all that? Have you learned anything about the way your process is from doing it this way?
I don't know about that. We've tried to, myself included, try to be teachers, be the best teachers we possibly can. It tests you a little bit when you're doing it virtually. You're not seeing necessarily the reaction of the player there as you have the big screen on and you're going through the plays. You're not playing off the crowd, I guess you'd say. You're playing off of and keeping these guys occupied by the ability that you have to teach and to help them become even better than what they already are. I mean, they're one out of 32 guys in the whole world that are doing what they do, but this gives them an enhancement to even be greater than what they are.
And as far as the draft goes, I know the scouts and Brett and all those guys do most of this work for this, but we're sitting here a few days away from it. Do you feel pretty comfortable with what you guys have on the roster and the things you need, maybe lining up with the board? I know that the draft night's crazy. You never know how it's going to happen, but just what's your comfort factor right now with the way things look a couple of days out?
Yeah, I think, when you're sitting here like we have the last couple of years, and fortunate to be sitting in that position because of the wins that have taken place. But you have to discipline yourself to take the best player. And so with that, you've got to evaluate every position and you got to put all this time in. And Brett's done a great job with that. I think he's very comfortable with it right now. if we had to do it today. So he and his guys have been working overtime and making sure they have all the bases covered, and we'll come out of there with a good football player.
We'll go last to Mick Schaefer.
Hey, Coach, I have a draft question for you, too. Do you have any favorite memories from draft weekends in years past? And what's it like for you being on the phone, calling these guys, and almost every single time knowing that you're making their dreams come true with that phone call, with that pick?
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of a neat thing. I'm getting old enough now, Nick, where you have a Travis Kelce and his brother sitting right next to him, who I drafted or had an opportunity to draft in Philadelphia. So here I can talk to both of them and tell them, hey, listen, you get your little brother in line, I can take him right here. So it's kind of fun doing that. But there are situations like that, or maybe it's a son of a kid that I coach that we just talked about Andy Locke. I mean, when Drew was coming out, I mean, here I have an opportunity to evaluate him and see where he gets picked, and then so those situations are kind of neat to go through. But I've had so many great experiences, and there's a certain satisfaction that you get, and even though it's a little bit selfish, it's also, you're so happy for the kid, but you're able to give somebody an opportunity to play in the National Football League. I mean, what an honor that is, and these guys appreciate that. You see them, those top guys that are sitting there in the first round. These are big name guys, and they're so excited to get up there with Roger Goodell and throw them up in the air and do whatever they do with them there. I mean, that's pure excitement.